This show is part of the Deluxe Edition Network. To find the other great shows on the network, head over to the deluxeeditionnetwork.com.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Deluxe Edition. I am your host, Casey Shearer. Joining me, as always, Ray, the podcaster.
What's going on, Casey?
Not much, buddy. How are you?
Fantastic.
Fan-fucking-tastic. We just had another great guest, Michael Campion. Definitely our youngest guest now. Takes the position away from JD Slackert.
Mm-hmm.
Michael is 20 years of age. He was Jackson Fuller on the hit show on Netflix, Fuller House, for all 75 episodes. So check that out, and we'll get right into it here after the plugs. We are a part of the Deluxe Edition Network, and you can find all of the other great shows over at deluxeeditionnetwork.com. And the podcast of the month this month is Ray, the podcaster.
Oh my God.
Beer Night Podcast. And you can find all of our other stuff over at Deluxe Edition Pod on Instagram and Twitter. If you'd like to find all of our previous shows, go over to deluxeedition.show. You can support the show by buying a t-shirt over at whatamaneuver.net/collection/deluxe-edition. Or join our Patreon channel at patreon.com/deluxe edition. Or if you're watching on YouTube, you can join our YouTube channel as well. I believe it's $7 a month. I will send you the recording immediately after we're finished. And there's all kinds of cool perks. So sign up today.
Yeah, do that stuff.
Ray, where can people find the podcast of the month?
I am the 10-cent Beer Night Podcast. You can find me exclusively on Spotify. You can check me out over on Facebook and Instagram if you want to chit-chat, make dumb comments, whatever. And head over to TeePublic, where you can get yourself a pretty swanky-looking coffee cup or a T-shirt or whatnot.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff over there. You got banners, mugs, all kinds of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Go check him out. Ray does a lot of cool podcasts by himself. Very informative.
Yeah.
All right, Ray.
I try, Casey.
I know you do, bud.
All
right. Let's roll right into it. Michael Campion.
What's going on? Hi, how's it going?
All right.
Good, man. How are you?
How you doing?
Pretty good. Yeah.
Cool, man. We just we do things a little different over here at Deluxe Edition, so we're already rolling.
Awesome. All right, let's go. Do it.
So I just wanted to tell this quick story before we get into you. Ray and I did a live show last, I guess it was, if you're following along in the timeline of this, it's probably around 2 weeks ago by now, but I wanted to get your guys' opinion on this. I went to a wrestling show a couple weeks ago, November 27th. I had front row seats to Ricky the Dragon Steamboat's last match. And I took a lot of like really awesome pictures, and the promotion, this Big Time Wrestling, just pulled one of my photos from my Facebook page and put it as their banner on their Facebook page, and then used and put their logo over my photo, like without permission. They did.
I feel like that's pretty cool, but at the same time, I feel like if you would have just like commented on your post or something, that would have made it all better.
Yeah, all my friends like that I ask about it, they're like, yeah, you're just taking pictures of their talent, so they're just taking their picture back that you took of them.
It's true. I'd probably
But
use that in my banner too if it was a good one.
it was a great photo. I would have loved for them to use it if they would have just asked me. If they would have just said, "Hey, you took a great photo here. Would you mind if we used it as your banner? We'll give you credit for it."
That would have been even cooler. Yeah, that's too bad. I feel like it's pretty easy just to click a picture and then like download it
Yeah.
nowadays. Yeah. That's funny.
Any opinions on that, Ray?
We do a lot of promo stuff for like birthdays and movies and whatnot, and I never ask permission to use the pictures. So I'm kind of torn on this one because, in one point, like today was, when we recorded this was Jeff Bridges' birthday. So I just pulled a random photo of him from a movie and used it for the birthday picture. And I don't know who took the picture originally. And I didn't give credit to anybody because, at this point, a lot of pictures are used so much that how do you find the original person at this point? So, but in your case, you could just like contact them and say, hey, that's cool, you're using it. But could you like name drop me or something? Just anything like a free T-shirt, something.
Well, here's the thing. I did contact them and I said, "Hey, could you give me credit for using my photo?" And we all use Facebook. You can see when people read your messages, and I was left on scene.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh man.
But they finally did eventually take my picture down and use someone else's picture. But
No,
I just
that's
thought it
too
was,
bad. What? So it went back. I feel like that's like a net negative. Like at first it was cool they were using it, and now that's too bad.
No, I wanted them to take it down. I was pissed about it.
Oh,
I've had that happen in the past. Like some people have taken my pictures and used it on their shit, and I don't know, it's not cool. I mean, I do the same thing as Ray. Like Ray was saying, I take pictures all the time, but it's like I feel like pictures that are like on Google search are different, like than stealing it directly from someone's Facebook page.
Was it like with a professional camera? Is that why it looks so good? Or was it
No, I
just
mean
like
it was with my Google Pixel,
oh,
but
okay.
I mean it
Same
takes great
difference, yeah.
pictures,
Right.
That's
funny.
But anyway, Michael, how are
Yeah.
you, bud? Thanks for
I'm
joining
so
us,
good.
man.
Yeah, no problem. This is great. I like all of your posters there in the back.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah.
Are you calling from? Are you joining us from California or Orlando?
I'm in California right now.
California,
Yeah.
cool. But you grew up in Orlando, is that correct?
I did, yeah. I just went back for Thanksgiving. I go there occasionally, but yeah, mainly I'm in California right now. So
I was just in Orlando a couple of weeks ago for the first time, and over at Epcot. And I've been listening to a bunch of interviews that you have done over the last couple of years, and I found out that your family is ingrained in Disney, the Disney world.
pretty much, yeah.
Right?
My mom used to work for Disney. She was one of the fairy godmothers there's like inside of the Magic Kingdom castle. They would like transform like customers, like little girls, into princesses. They'll give them like a dress and they'll do like their makeup. It's like a whole boutique. It's really cool. So she used to do that. And then my aunt and uncle right now are Santa and Mrs. Claus for them professionally, which is really cool. And they also used to be clowns for Ringling Brothers. So I have a lot of like really cool people that like performers in my family.
Yeah, wow. So I didn't know about the whole clown thing. I knew about the Santa Claus and Mrs. Claus. How do you go about getting those gigs? Is it like, I imagine he looks a lot like Santa Claus?
Yeah,
right?
well, I mean, it's really interesting because their house 24/7 is Christmas, and like they are like always on Santa and Mrs. Claus. They're like that character for like year round. And how do you get? Oh gosh, I think that he went to a literal, like he's part of like a union of Santa Clauses, and they actually get jobs through that. I don't think they have agents, but I'm pretty sure, just working at malls and other places gets you street cred as Santa Claus. So
I saw a really interesting documentary on Santa Clauses a few years ago that Mick Foley did. He was or he was in it, at least. He was a pro wrestler. He's big into Santa Claus, and it's crazy. Like, I've never realized the Santa conventions and all that type of stuff that they have.
Yep, like Santa conventions. I've seen pictures. I don't actually know what they do. I just have like heard about my uncle going to them. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Now, from when you were a little kid, has he always done that?
No. So I think he started doing it when I was like 11 or 12. But before that, they were clowns, like I said, for Ringling Brothers. So I would go see them. They weren't like the acrobats. They were like the ones that would entertain beforehand. But they, yeah, I mean, they've always done stuff like that. I think that they used to do like kids' birthdays and stuff before they joined like the actual circus. So yeah.
Nice.
Really
so cool. You said your mom was the fairy godmother at Disney also, right?
I usually just say, like, if I'm in a passing conversation, I go, she was the fairy godmother, because it's hard. It's like, if I go down the line, she's like, she works at the boutique and she's a fairy godmother and she does this thing at this place. It seems, I usually just say she's a fairy godmother there, but not like the one in the parades and all that. So some people might get the wrong idea, but she works at a place called the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique, where she is a fairy godmother there, transforms the princesses. And I mean, she's a very magical lady in general. She doesn't work there right now, but she has a company called As You Wish Magical Experiences. If you're in Orlando, go hit that up. And basically it's her own like little mobile version of that, with a bunch of employees who got laid off from Disney, and they all joined her company to go and do like birthdays and stuff like that, doing a similar type thing. It's very cool.
Oh, that's cool. And what was it called again? What's her company?
As You Wish Magical Experiences. I know she'd be happy that I'm saying this right now.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah,
very cool. So did your parents push you into getting into acting, or how did that? What was that all like?
Absolutely not. It was actually really interesting, because they just said, hey, whatever you want to do, you go ahead and do it. Like, we'll be in support of that. And so I tried a few things. I remember just being miserable at sports. I remember like not wanting to do skateboarding or like painting or anything like that. But when I was 5 years old, I started, well, actually, my mom was getting Christmas cards done with me and my sister with her professional photographer friend. And she was like, your son is very photogenic. Would you mind if I sent a picture of your son over to one of my friends at this modeling agency? And we didn't know that like Wilhelmina modeling agency apparently is like really big. I didn't know that at the time. And that's in Miami. And so they were like, hey, we want to sign you. That's really cool. But I think that he would like community theater, like get some stuff on his resume. So I started doing community theater, and I just loved it since I was a real little kid. Even before then, my mom put me in a in a Halloween costume competition when I was 3 years old. I was dressed as Elvis, and she tells me that I was completely working the judges. I had no fear. Like, all the other little kids were like crying. I just went up there. I was dancing. I had my little guitar, and I won like the massive like first place trophy. It was like twice as big as me. It was crazy. So I remember, I think that's what she was like, he's very extroverted. I wonder if he'd like this. So
some of your first stuff was theater then?
Yeah, I grew up doing theater, community theater. And then right after that, I got into like commercial work when I was like 6 or 7. So I've been doing it professionally for a little while now.
A lot of the people that we have talked to in the past all got their start in theater. Is it something that you would recommend as well for
Absolutely.
Actors,
Yeah, because I know a lot of people, they see film and television and they go, I want to do that. And it's the barrier to entry is a lot higher than something like, your school play or something like that. Just getting acting experience in general is really valuable, in my opinion.
Sure.
Yeah.
So then, how did Fuller House come about?
Yeah. So when I was 12 years old, I was in Florida still, and I got an audition like I always would from my agent, and I just said like untitled sitcom, and I didn't know what it was, but I was playing the role of JD. I didn't know who that was, and I did it, sent in my audition, and they liked it. Got a call back, sent in another one, and then finally they told me that it was Fuller House that I was auditioning for, and I was pretty stoked. I mean, I watched Full House when I was real little, so it was on like at Nick at Night, and like along with like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and George Lopez and all that. So I did that, and then I went out for my last audition. I flew out to LA, Warner Brothers Studios, and actually, crazy enough, I don't normally say this, but I feel like it's been a long enough time. I was not the original Jackson on the show. There was another kid. I don't actually know who he was. I forget his name actually, and he got hired as Jackson. And I was like, all right, well, they picked another one. That's too bad. Sometimes you get to the final round and it's just you don't get the part. All good. So for like a week and a half, they had this kid and they were on set with him. And then one day someone was just like, one of the higher executives was like, I don't think that he has chemistry with the rest of the cast. And so they all agreed, and then they fired him. And then they recast him like a week later, which was me. And I was like, it was like a 24-hour turnaround. Like literally I did my last audition. I flew out. And it was like 7 a.m. I was with my mom. We were at Warner Brothers Studios in the like security break room because the casting office wasn't even open yet. Like the security guards were nice enough to let us in. And I got picked up like in a limo and all that. I mean, this was just like crazy for a 12-year-old to happen. So I go in, there was one other kid with me. We both did our audition in separate rooms, and they told me right then and there that I got the part. And this was also on the week of my 13th birthday. So it was a lot. It was a sensory overload. It was really crazy. And then the next morning I was shooting. So
wow,
it was really bonkers story.
You said you don't remember the kid's name who got fired. I can guarantee you he remembers your name.
I know, it's the craziest thing. I want to talk to him. Like, I want to know, like, I'm pretty sure his name is Cannon. I've heard that name around. I asked who it was, but we never mentioned him again. I don't know what he looks like. And I would love to talk to him. Be like, hey man, what happened? Like, that sucks. Just to hear from him. Yeah.
Ray, am I missing anything here?
Nah, other than I think what they do with those actors, like in that situation, is they take them out back behind the building and shoot them. That's why you can't find them anymore.
That's right.
So be careful on these auditions.
The bad actors go away.
I watched a few episodes of Fuller House this morning. Was it shot in front of a live studio audience, or did they add those tracks in later?
No, it was. That was the coolest part of the whole thing.
So that's the way they did it, like old school, like back in the day, right? Everything was shot in front of a live studio audience. That's not done too much anymore, is it?
No, not on like Disney and Nickelodeon. I think that I've been to one other show, Big Bang Theory, that has a live studio audience in there. I saw that because they were actually shooting right across from us in another stage. And so I saw them, but no, most of the time it's just pre-recorded. But I always thought those were the coolest days because essentially we would go through the whole show like a play from top to bottom. And if we messed up, the audience would just laugh. It was all in good fun. And we only did a few takes, and it was like you had an audience right there that just filled you with energy. It was really great.
Right. So how much, like, what was the shooting schedule like? I know we talked to a long time ago, Scott Schwartz. He was a child actor in the original Christmas Story.
Mm.
And I remember like the shooting schedule for kids back then was quite different. What was that like, the shooting schedule? Or like
I
are there
wonder
certain
how
hours that
different it
you're
was.
allowed to work?
Yeah, so there was a certain amount of time I had to get in for school. So when I first got in there, when I was 13, I had a shorter amount of hours. I turned 16, I had longer, and then it all has to do with like your schooling. So technically, you have to get a certain amount of hours in, and I'd be down shooting, and then I'd immediately be like carted back up to school. So I had like two full-time jobs. I was working on school. I was working on Fuller House, and so the other kids. I mean, my co-star, her name is Sony. She plays Ramona on the show. We were in the same schooling program, and we had an on-set teacher. That was with us for the whole run, and it eventually we got to a point where we could take a thing called the CHESP, the California High School Proficiency Exam, and it's what a lot of child actors do to basically circumvent the system, where you will get booked more if you have a CHESP, because then you don't have to worry about school. Like you have like a diploma pretty much, so you don't have to technically work on set. Doing school. So we did that. I still finished high school, but then when I turned 16, I had to work full-time hours with Fuller House, and I had to work
Oh, wow.
the other full-time with school. And that, I think, if I had to put like the number one thing that was the most challenging, was trying to balance school and work, because I am not a fan of school. I'm really not,
Yeah.
in general. So
You said your co-star on the show, Sony, was that her name?
yeah.
You were in the same, you said, program. So is it essentially like a homeschool type thing, or are
Yeah.
you actually going to a high school, like a high school somewhere else?
No. In the beginning, I was going to a real school in Florida, and I was enrolled in this really weird long distance thing where like they tried to give me work, and then I was like, I just can't work anymore. So, and then I did another year where I did their virtual program. I hated it, and then I went to what a bunch of child actors go to here. It's called Opus Oak. I almost forgot the name of it. Oak Park Independent School, where they're very accommodating to kids in the industry, and they understand like their needs. And it's a real school. It's like a real base school. You can go there, but they have a program where anyone who needs to do it, homeschooling can. And we had a real teacher who was at the school, who was like our teacher, and she collected all of our work and all that. But yeah, we didn't like go to a real school or anything like that.
Yeah. So like while you're doing that, are the other actors, like the adults, are they filming their scenes separately, or are they like coming, because it's a kid heavy show? There's a lot of kids
Yeah,
on the show.
a lot of kids. So the ADs would definitely make the schedules around us and how much time we needed to get in. And so the schedule went like this: like in a week, in a nutshell, it was Monday and Tuesday were rehearsal days. Monday we would go through all of the scenes, we would block it, and then we would have lunch. And then after that, the writers and producers would come in and watch the show from top to bottom, write their notes, be like a pseudo audience. And then the next day we would do a dress rehearsal, same difference, but we'd also have Warner Horizon and Netflix watch it. And then the next day was just like this was our pre-taping day. So it was pretty much free for all, where this is where we would pre-shoot every thing that could not be shot on a Friday where the live audience was. So it was like babies and stunts and animals and extras and big sets. It was all shot there. And then Friday was live audience. So as much schooling as we could get in between those times. Sometimes they would block out big chunks where we didn't have to do anything, and we would just basically work overtime with school and put it into what we called a bank. It was a very interesting system. So like if we had to work longer hours, we could like pull from our bank of hours that we worked with school, so it would balance out. So times where the adults were shooting a lot and we weren't, we would bank hours. So when we did need to shoot a lot, we could just pull from that bank, so we didn't have to do school. And that was a
Gotcha.
very strange system. It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they want you to work as much as they can, I guess.
It's true.
Or as much as you can, I guess.
Yeah. And we wanted to work. I mean,
Sure.
man, being on the show was one of the best experiences of my life. It was really awesome.
Yeah. You mentioned something interesting there. You would shoot everything that couldn't be done in front of the live audience on whatever Thursday.
Yeah.
I never knew that was a thing. Like, so babies can't be shot in front of a live audience?
Well, babies can be shot in front of a live audience, but they could be shot way less hours than we can. Sometimes, if we had infants on set at one point, that could be like 30 minutes on, and then like immediately when they called cut, they would be like escorted off. So it was this real weird thing to get all the like baby shots in. So yes, we might have it on a Friday, but that just really depended on how old they were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. That's weird. So like then when they're shooting the live show on like in front of the live audience, what do they do like for those scenes that and I guess because like movies and all that stuff is filmed out of order a lot of times. So like, are they filming everything in order?
So on a live audience day, they would shoot everything in order from top to bottom, so the audience could understand the story of what was going on. In the parts that we couldn't shoot, big scenes, which I feel like there was only like one or two, maybe like top 4 scenes that couldn't really be done in front of a live audience in like per episode. So those would be shot the day before, and then they would be hot rolled on these screens that the audience was watching in the stands. So they go, all right, we shot this yesterday. That's what the director guy would say. We shot this yesterday. We're gonna fill it in while we're going to move this next shot. Watch it so you understand what's going on. And live audience days were actually like, let me just paint this picture for you. It was like an event. People from all over the world who were Fuller House fans would come to watch the show, whatever episode it was. And we had a audience warm-up guy who would, entertain them throughout. And we would do like little games with them. It was a whole event when the audience was there. So it wasn't like these people who were paid to be there and laugh. It was like people who genuinely wanted to be there and were fans. So that was awesome. Like going up and like signing, pictures for them afterward and like talking to the audience. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, because like, that's a lot different from like our guest last week, George Booza. He was a voice actor for the X-Men animated series. And like he had no idea that he had fans until he started going to these Comic-Cons, later in life. But that's really cool to be able to do it in front of a live audience.
I thought that was just the coolest experience because not only did I grow up with doing theater, that was like what I was comfortable with, but it was such a comfortable set to be on because it ran like clockwork. There was no like weird shoots and no weird like out of order stuff. We knew exactly what was going to happen and we all loved it. So I'm very thankful.
Very cool.
Yeah.
All right. We have, I just want to talk about, we have a ton of fan questions. Speaking of fans,
a ton of fan questions. All right.
Yeah. But, before that, let's get into your magic. You're also a magician, right? Is this something that you've been doing this since you're a kid too? I say a kid, you're only 20.
I'm 20. Yeah.
But is this something that like you're going to pursue to do like bigger stage shows, like a David Copperfield type?
That would be interesting. Well, right now, I don't know where you guys are from. Are you based in LA?
I'm in Tallahassee, Florida, and Ray is in Cleveland.
Okay, so okay, gotcha. So if you guys ever do come to LA, there's this place called the Magic Castle, and it's this private club for magicians. Think of it like a venue. It's this old mansion at the top of in the middle of Hollywood, and if you know a magician, you can get in and like see the shows. There's this really fancy dress attire, and they have a junior program. from 13 to 21, and I've been a part of their junior program for a while now. So think of it like like Hogwarts. Like essentially, we go there and we have access to this huge magic library. We get mentored, and we can do shows if we so desire on the weekends. So there's only about 6 of us right now who actually work out of like the 100 or so juniors, because you have to be pretty decent and you have to have an act that you can do all the time, and you also have to be relatively based in LA to like do it all the time. So I currently work at a place called the Magic Castle. Magic Castle is where I do close-up magic, and I'm looking actually to get into stage. I grew up doing stage magic, like little like apparatus illusions, not like sawing people in half or anything, but I just generally like a bigger crowd. But I do get paid to go out and do gigs. Just, some people will be like, hey, I have a party. Would you mind doing like 2 hours of, strolling magic, walking around? And I get a little extra money on the side from that. So
sweet.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I
magic.
want to do like a Vegas show or anything. That's
strolling magic, you say? So you're just strolling around doing magic?
Pretty much, yeah. So like, if there's a corporate event or a private party and they want some entertainment, they'll hire a magician or a band or anything like that. I'm just in that category, and I'll go up to tables and I'll generally talk to them. I'll say, hey, how you doing? I'm a magician. You want to see some magic? And then I'll do something for them.
Pull a quarter from behind Ray's ear.
Pull a quarter from behind the ear. Yeah. If you look in your pocket. Yeah.
Do you ever use your magic shtick to pick up the ladies?
A lot of people do, and I'm not saying that I never have, but some people like religiously go out and they're like, I'm going to learn magic to go impress ladies. Mm-hmm. And fortunately, I have a girlfriend right now, so I don't need to worry about that. But if I didn't, I would most definitely be going out and doing magic tricks for people. Yeah.
Do you know how to throw a fireball?
Do I know how to throw a fireball? There's this $300 device that I've always wanted that you can attach to your wrist and shoot fireballs like Spider-Man. It's really cool. One day.
Is that how they do it?
That's like one way you can do it. There's other ways, but like flash paper or whatnot. I wish I knew. Magic Castle doesn't allow the juniors to do fire magic, unfortunately.
Oh, okay. So yeah. How old do you have to be to be out of the junior program?
So on the weekends, when you go and perform, you people under 21 are allowed to be there. Any other weekdays or at night or weekends at night, you have to be 21 and up. So it basically 21. I'm gonna I'll graduate from the program, go into the adult program, but it's just a matter of the fact that we can't go in there because of like alcohol license reasons. That's the only reason. Yeah.
So that's up. It's fairly close to the Hollywood Bowl, right?
Yeah, it's right next to it.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah, I know. I know where it is. I've been around that area. I travel for work, so I've been in that area a bunch of times.
You've ever seen it? Yeah, it's this like house on the top of this hill, and it's like it looks like this old Victorian mansion. It's very cool.
Yeah, you were saying there's several different rooms. So like what I think about that when you say that, is it like maybe you haven't been there because you're not old enough, the Comedy Store, how there's like the OG room, there's the belly room, there's like different, is that sort of like the same thing with the Magic Castle? Like there's
Yes, if you think of it like a comedy club. I have been to the Comedy Store. I did sneak in with two of my friends one time, and so it's like that, but it isn't just like plain rooms. It's when you go into the castle, there's also a dining hall and it's a literal house. It's just a big house. So they have the Palace of Mystery, which is like where all the big stage stuff is. They have the parlor, and then they have the 3 close-up rooms, which are at the very front. So if you were to look at it on a map, you could see that I'm like in the front area where there's this little table, and there's this room of like 50 people that can be seated. And I do my act for them.
Cool.
Yeah.
So you said it's invite only though, right?
Invite only. You have to know a magician. You have to know a member of the Magic Castle to get invited. And yeah, if you're a member, you have access all the time. It's very cool.
Cool.
What's your favorite trick that you perform?
My favorite trick that I perform. Okay. It always sucks when people ask me this, because I wish that I could do it for you right now. Because if I go, oh, that one trick where I do this, it's like, I mean, I could describe it. Essentially, I have this trick in my act right now. Definitely my favorite by far, where I'll pull up an audience member, and there's this little drawing, and I put out these 5 markers, and I close my eyes, and they color it in however they'd like. And earlier in the show, I put out this like little prediction, and the colors actually end up matching in a very magical way. There's other twists in it as well. That's been my favorite one so far, but I feel like it doesn't do it justice. You have to come by and see me at the Magic Castle pretty much every Sunday.
Nice. Do you ever do any of the live? Do they do live streams or anything from there that people can watch the act from somewhere else?
Live streams. I have my act recorded, but I don't think anyone's ever live streamed it. I think it's you're not allowed to take pictures inside of the Magic Castle.
Okay.
So
cool. How do you feel about, so like over the last, I don't know how many years, there's always these shows that come out every few years where it's a magician in a mask, and then his voice is disguised, and he's giving away all of the secrets. The magician's secrets.
Yeah.
How do magicians feel about stuff like that?
The Masked Magician. I think that's the one that you're talking about. And yes, there will be other shows like from time to time that will give out the secrets. But to be honest with you, I think that we are all in agreement that those shows are good for the magic community, because a lot of people who have never been exposed to magic and see those shows, I feel like they have it reveals a lot of like stage illusions and like how illusions are built in general. I don't think it gives away like the most cutting edge magic or anything like that. Plus now everyone just will look it up on YouTube. So sure. I feel like those shows are pretty dated now. But if you want to talk about like giving away secrets, I think that the magic community, anyone who buys magic tricks or knows magic tricks, if they're an informative YouTube channel who like teaches magic, I think that that's perfectly fine. But pretty much it's a very loyal community, the magic community is, because they will not give away secrets. If they've bought a trick, even I will ask my friends who I am like this with, and I'd be like, how does it work? And like, you have to buy it. And I'd be like, you're right, you're so right, like why would I ever ask you that? So I'd say that it's pretty tight, and the shows that do come out aren't exposing anything that wasn't done like 100 years ago,
sure.
Like that. So
you say people want that you have to buy it. What do you mean by that?
When I say buy it, so sometimes,
I mean, I know how buying and selling works. Like you have to give someone money for something, but
no. I mean, when you have to buy, I say it. I know that was a general term. I mean one of two things: either a gimmick that comes out, like a magical device or like a tool, or a method that they've like learned from a book, or a method that they've learned from any other source. And the Magic Castle Library actually has pretty much every magic book in existence, and also every magic DVD or video. So we can just access any of that. That's one of the perks, is to just access that. And so it's pretty easy to find magic things.
Cool.
Yeah.
Are people still coming up with new magic
All the time.
all the time?
All the time. I feel like now more than ever, people are coming up with crazy stuff. Like, I think a big thing now is like technologically advanced magic that we weren't able to do before, like stuff on phones and these like really interesting devices that can like communicate to you really fast. And yeah, doing things that feel more that have more tech in it is coming out a lot now.
Cool.
Yeah.
Am I missing anything, Ray, before we get into the fan questions here?
Are we gonna ask him about any of like upcoming films or stuff like that, or are we just gonna skip over the fact that he's an actor?
We could.
I mean,
yeah. You have any upcoming projects that you're working on?
Unfortunately, not. I want to say I will definitely be doing something soon. I know that for a fact. Right now, I'm taking a little bit of a break because I'm in school. Actually, I'm in an acting conservatory program right now. There's a 2-year program, and if I were to have worked during this time, it would have like messed up the schedule for that. So I'm graduating in February, but as soon as I'm done, I'm getting right back in it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Fan questions. Evan Dothwit. I'm really bad with names.
we always suck with these names.
What is your favorite episode in Fuller House season 5, and explain why?
Explain why. My favorite episode. Season 5. Wow, I feel like they all mushed together in my head. Let's see. What happened in season 5? I think that one of the coolest episodes, not necessarily my favorite, but because my favorite, I know what my favorite is. It's in season 4. Was when I got to play video games the entire time. It was basically Jackson like he entered in this like video game tournament and he ended up winning. So that was really cool. I got to play one of my favorite games of all time. It was called Rocket League, like for real. And also, wait, I'm completely blanking right now. Hold on, I have another one. There's another one that I know is my favorite. There's this one. Don't know what the name of it is, but it's where Jackson is going to college and he has to basically go on this like Mission Impossible heist. He has to go like hack this this sorority. They're holding this like Indiana Jones type artifact. It was my mom's old like trophy when she was at the sorority, and like she helps me break in and she has to go through these lasers and stuff. Apparently Jackson is now going into the tech industry. He's going to be a hacker. So that was really cool. And the reason they did that is because that was my last request, is for Jackson to do some Mission Impossible thing. I can't believe I forgot about that. That was in season 5. That's the one.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Like I said, I watched a few of the episodes the season 1 this morning. It's very adult themed. The first couple is it like that throughout the rest of the season or the series?
I think they definitely dialed it up for season 1 because everyone who is watching Full House is now like having adult humor and everything.
Right.
So, not that they didn't continue that, but I don't think it was at the like intensity that it was at. I think that as the kids grew and they started doing storylines with them, it balanced itself out. But no, it's definitely more than Full House, more contemporary.
Yeah,
modern.
for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Jose Valencia, how did you feel when you had to kiss Landry Bender?
Landry. Love Landry. I thought the question was going to be Lola because Landry, by the time I had to kiss Landry and be in a relationship with Landry, it just felt like we're 2 actors doing our thing, and that was all. Like I know nothing romantic with Landry at all. But a more interesting thing is my very first kiss ever was with Lola on the show. So I was so scared. I was 13. I remember crying beforehand. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to get my first kiss in front of everyone. And yeah, that was way more terrifying. And by the time I was like doing that for a while with Lola, doing it with Rocky was just, I mean, it was whatever.
So that was legit. Your first kiss was with the first girl, Lola, that you mentioned,
That was legitimately my first kiss.
and you had to do it in front of a room full of people.
Room full of people. Well, I mean, my first it was technically in rehearsal, like we just got it over with. But like then having to do like my second or third kiss in front of like a live audience was pretty nerve-wracking. So
were you like worried that they're going to yell at you to do it better? Is that part of the problem?
Actually, we have the cast has these secret discs that have all the bloopers on them, and we're not allowed to share it with anyone, unfortunately. But there's this one. I remember that they put it on there before I messed it up on accident. I messed up I messed up my line like right after the kiss, and they're like, "All right, we got to do it again," and I'm like, "Ah!" and everyone's like, "Ah!" So yeah, I didn't do that on purpose. I promise.
All right. We have a few here from super fan Stephanie Kurzakowski. Do you have a favorite episode from the original series?
Oh man, I have a favorite episode from the original series. Man, I want to say I don't really remember them too well. They all are. I have like my favorite moments from the show, but not necessarily. I would say that my favorite moment. I don't really have a favorite episode. I really liked when Stephanie ran the car through the living room. That was hilarious. And then she did it again in season 5, I think. So, yeah.
I like how in the if you haven't seen Fuller House by now, I apologize, but there will be spoilers here. I like how in the very first episode, how they all get their one-liners out of the way, and it gets a big pop from the audience.
Yeah, it was just. I think the first couple episodes were just all like nostalgia, like overload for everyone. Yeah,
it was fun. All right, another one from Stephanie here. What was the vibe like when the original cast members were on set?
Oh, like the legacy cast, or so that we're talking about like John, Dave, and yeah. Well, unfortunately, I'm so sad about Bob's passing. I mean, that was crazy. But when he was around, he was my favorite by far. He was so sweet, and he would always make sure that all the kids were like comfortable and were included in things. He genuinely felt like my grandpa. Not to say that John and Dave didn't do any of that, but I just remember having good chemistry with Bob. I'm close with John. John comes to the Magic Castle occasionally. He and my mom chat. He's a really big like Disney enthusiast, so they'll talk about things. And Dave was a director for a couple of shows. He's been around for more shows than any of them, because he directed and was in it for other stuff. But he's so funny. He's hilarious. Like literally, I remember we have at least 6 or 7 individual bloopers on that reel I was talking about that are just Dave cracking jokes and the entire cast laughing at it. He's so funny. And yeah, I love all of them. They're amazing.
Awesome. All right. Let's see here. Well, this is still from Stephanie here. Who has been your favorite guest star on the show?
My favorite guest star on the show, hands down. Oh, wait. No, because he's not a guest star. He was recurring at that point. But I'm going to say my favorite like non-main cast was definitely is Jimmy Dibbler. Adam Hagenboo, the actor, he's my favorite guy ever. He inspires me as an actor. He was the first one to talk to me about other things, other like classes that he was taking with acting that inspired me to take the class I'm currently at. He just so many words of wisdom. He was awesome. He was hilarious. Adam Hagenboom. There you go.
Cool. All right. You were in the movie Christmas Trade with some pretty known names. Did any of them bring their children to set that you had gotten to meet?
I didn't know they had children. Any of them? Nope. Sorry.
Right. No, I haven't seen that one yet. It's on my list to watch since we're coming up on the Christmas season here.
Go right ahead.
If you were going to describe that movie to somebody who hadn't seen it, like like your little mini trailer or whatever,
Yeah.
Because I'm, we're, like Casey said, we're on that season now, so I'm looking for new Christmas movies.
Yeah.
Give me a little brief synopsis of what I'm in for if I watch this.
Yeah. It's like Freaky Friday, where I trade bodies with my dad. It has the vibe of a Hallmark movie. It's very nice and lovely and comfortable, and it's a family movie. It's not anything that you wouldn't find on like the Hallmark Channel. I feel like that's what it is. Yeah.
And Tom Arnold's in this, right? Did you work with Tom?
Yeah. Tom was great. Yeah, he was good friends with Bob Saget too, and Billy Baldwin, Denise Richards. At the time, I didn't know that these people were like, as like real big that they were. I was like, oh yeah, I'm just working with them, no problem.
All right, we have one more fan question, and I have another question as well. Will there be another Fuller House show or season? And this is from Chris Sluter.
Man, I always joke about in 30 years we're gonna have a Fullest House where it's us growing up. There actually was talks about like one more like little Christmas special with Fuller House. I don't know if that will ever come to fruition, but I know that John Stamos was very big on getting that done, and so was Bob. But I don't know, since Bob's passing, it just no one said anything about it, so I'm gonna say no. I unfortunately, but maybe in a couple of years or 10, 20 years, we'll make our own little fan version of Fullest House.
Cool. Speaking of 20, 30 years down the line, some of our guests that we've talked to over the last couple of years are much older than you, and have been talking about some of the things that they've been in for the last 40 years. Are you prepared to talk about Fuller House for the rest of your life?
I am absolutely prepared to talk about Fuller House for the rest of my life. I know that a lot of people liked it, and I know that I could see the impact that it has on people. And although I don't want that by any means to be the only thing that I talk about, it has been for the past 5-6 years, because that's how long it's been going on. I definitely want to go out of Jackson at some point. I want to, grow out of that, show my range, do something, dramatic, something that would break me out of that shell, out of that little world. But I am prepared. I can see people like it.
Yeah, I've heard you talk on a bunch of the other interviews that I listened to that you would like to play a villain.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Who are some of your favorite movie villains?
My favorite movie villains, ones that I don't think I could pull off, but one Hannibal Lecter. Oh God, who else? What's his name from Mission Impossible 3? The guy who he has blonde hair. Oh, it's Philip Seymour Hoffman. That's the actor.
Okay.
I really like Joker. I really like charismatic villains like Voldemort, who are very like you love to hate him. I want to be that guy.
Very cool, man. Yeah, we'd love to see that, and I look forward to following your career down the line. And one last thing here, you mentioned Bob's passing quite a few times. I've heard some things about his passing. It's listed on the death certificate, blunt head trauma. Have you heard anything about this? Like that this was possibly a cover up?
Honestly, when I first heard about it, they didn't know what was going on. And they said that they found him in his bed, like sleeping. So the only thing that they were able to come up with, the extra details, was that somehow he had slipped and fallen and hit his head, or just hit his head on something, and it must have caused some type of internal bleeding that he was not aware of, and he just passed in his sleep. That's the only thing I've ever that I've heard. I have not heard of anything where it was potentially a cover-up. If it was a cover-up, if there's some crazy conspiracy going on here that I had no idea, I would be shocked, because I don't think anyone's given that a second thought. I'm pretty sure that it was just an accident.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I listen to a bunch of conspiracy podcasts, so I've heard a couple different things about it being a cover up. So just wanted.
I would like
your
to hear
take on
that.
it.
I would love to know. Give me your conspiracy podcast. Yeah, I would like to look at the episode.
Yeah, I'll send you over the links then.
Yeah, do it.
But Michael, thanks so much, man. This has been a lot of fun. Tell people where they can find you.
Sure. I'm mainly on Instagram, just at Michael Campion. Twitter is _ Michael Campion, and those are the only two places I'm usually active.
All right. Ray, did I miss anything?
No, I think we nailed it. I think we got all the important stuff, and hopefully you can come back when you do just get back into acting, because we'd love to hear some more about that too. And I'm looking forward to seeing how this magic thing works out too.
Absolutely.
I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I checked out also, we didn't touch on it, but I did watch Finding Eden earlier today.
Did you?
Another good little movie.
Short,
the
little
hour and
movie.
15-minute movie. Definitely check that out.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
All right, buddy. Thanks, man. We appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. All right. I'll see you around.
See you, man.
Thank you.